Hello, my name is Marissa Sage, and I'm the University Art Museum Director here at New Mexico State University. Today, we're going to do a video walkthrough of our exhibition, Labor, Motherhood and Art in 2020. Co-curated by myself and the artist Laurel Nakadate, Labor aims to enrich the conversations that are currently happening in our social-political climate regarding motherhood and mothering. We are going to take a look at over 20 intergenerational artists who, through the lens of empathy, love, loss, choice, and anxiety, look at different forms of the historic and contemporary ways we view mothering in our society. So come with us as we start with the artist Mary Kelly into the gallery, and we will walk you through what we believe is a beautiful exhibition. Thank you for coming. We start off the exhibition with Mary Kelly's Antepartum, 1973, a black and white video loop transferred from Super 8 film. In Antepartum, Kelly uses a single close-up shot that records the artist stroking her abdomen at full term as the unborn baby moves. Originally filmed in Super 8, Antepartum was the prologue to Kelly's iconic postpartum document, considered one of the most important feminist works produced in the 20th century. Both works document the intense physical intimacy between mother and child and explore the social and psychological processes that shape the mother-child relationship. With the creation of Antepartum and Postpartum document, Kelly became one of the first artists to validate the research of maternity and motherhood in the field of contemporary art, and her research started a 40-year-long discussion of the role institutions play in advancing conversations regarding women's dual labor as mother and artist. This piece is titled Self-Portrait Nursing 2004 by the artist Catherine Opie. Opie's photographs include portraits and American urban landscapes, ranging in format from large-scale color works to smaller black and white prints. Moving from the territory of the body to the framework of the city, Opie's various photographic series are linked together by a conceptual framework of cultural portraiture. Self-portrait nursing is one of Opie's most iconic images and has become her emblematic image of queer motherhood. In this clear tribute to Madonna and Child, Opie challenges gender and bodily norms. The image focuses on Opie's unclothed chest breastfeeding her son Oliver, their bodies fleshy and tender, set against an ornate red and gold background, which clearly references the Northern Renaissance painting of the 16th century. This portrait provides a deep, intimate look into both the formal traditions of portraiture and the opposing contemporary views of queer identity related to motherhood. Opie's body reveals all the scars and tattoos of her youth and the life before she had Oliver. As she cradles her son, the gaze they share reveals a profound and intimate look into the bond that a viewer is privileged to witness. This work by the artist Laurie Simmons, titled Some New Grace Orange 2018, is a pigment print. By the early 1980s, Simmons was at the forefront of a new generation of feminist artists whose use of media as subject began a new dialogue in contemporary art. Simmons is the mother to actress, writer, producer, and director Lena Dunham, and Cyrus Grace Dunham, transgender advocate, actor, and published author, seen here in Some New Grace Orange. In this work, Simmons explores the influence that her child, Cyrus Grace, has had on her art and how that has influenced her personal vision of gender, pop culture, feminism, and empowerment. Simmons has spoken of the influence of her children on her work. "I'm way more influenced by my children than I was by my parents," she said, and that at the risk of sounding like a big fat cliche, they're my teachers now. They're my conduit to the 21st century. By covering Cyrus Grace's body in a trompe l'oeil suit of paint, Simmons has transformed their presence while still leaving them vulnerable and suspended in space between fact and fiction, real and imagined persona, and the many ways identity is built. In Virgin and Child 1, we witness the important role that the artist María Barrios' Colombian heritage plays in her colorful, large-scale collages. Berrío has been influenced by many aspects of Southern American myth, folklore, and traditions, including religious beliefs of her devout grandmother, who imparted in her a love of mysticism, vivid symbolism, and storytelling. Many of Maria's works, including this piece, are composed of drawn elements and various applied objects on hundreds of built-up layers of tiny pieces of beautifully crafted paper sourced globally. Virgin and Child 1 is consistent with the major theme of Barrios' collage scenes, many inhabited by powerful, compassionate, courageous women and mothers in harmony with themselves and nature. Berrío states that motherhood opens one to an incredibly deep and life-changing kind of love. This love expands into every part of you, tests your limits, and consistently surprises you with its strength. It is a generate force that inspires the work I do every day as an artist. Not only does it not take away from what we create, it adds to it. Being a mother allows me to relate to people in a profound and special way. Before I became a mother, I often felt like an outsider, like I didn't have a way to connect with people. Having my son Baz gave me a shared experience with many other women I know, and women throughout time. It is in this way that motherhood is a universal language, beautiful and humbling. I channel this language through my work so that a work can reach out and touch people. The opposite of looking is not invisibility. The opposite of yellow is not gold. Is a 2016 work by the artists Hoang Noi and Hoang An Trong. Since 2009, these two artists have collaborated on projects that reframe questions of value through the critical lens of identity, gender, and class. Both artists come from the refugee families who fled Vietnam as a result of the Vietnam War. The artists use vernacular photography to recontextualize their experience as Vietnamese American women, growing up in the U.S., focusing on a broader aspect of the importance of shared family histories. In this work, which is part of a larger project, they use personal photographs of their mothers during the 1970s and 1980s, highlighting their roles as both refugees and laborers, addressing the impact of their twofold invisibility due to their status as both women and refugees. Underscoring the authority of images to shape collective and cultural memory, the photographs are juxtaposed with laser-etched excerpts from the 1970s U.S. congressional hearing that discussed the fate of Indo-Chinese refugees post the Vietnam War. The connection between the highly personal family photographs and broader institutional language raises questions about how labor is inscribed with the larger cultural narrative of racial politics. In 2012, Lenka Clayton founded an artist residency in Motherhood, a self-directed residency that took place in her own home and life as a mother of two young children. The project aimed to reframe parenthood as a valuable site for creative practice, rather than as an obstruction to be overcome. On Mother's Day 2016, Clayton made ARIM an open-source website for any other artist raising children to take part in, and in just over 3 years, it had become a global movement with currently over 900 artists and residents in 62 countries around the world. For this book and installation, Mother's Day, the 15th of July 2019, 81 members of the ARIM were invited by Clayton to record the events of a regular Monday in as much or little detail as they chose. The result is this 388-page book. The accounts collected together are larger than life in this installation, and they reveal a comprehensive record of parenting, from the humor to the exhaustion and the paradoxical isolation and connectedness of each individual mother's experience. Exhibiting the full book in its grandeur parallels the often routine yet remarkable days captured by each one of these artist mothers. Kate Gilmore works in performance, video, sculpture, and installation. Her work often deals with themes of the outsider experience, female identity, displacement, desire, and the pursuit of transformation. In the video Top Drawer, Gilmore shoves 40 square plaster cubes into dresser drawers, and red paint splatters out from the structure. Gilmore speaks to the potential pitfalls and failures implicit in being an artist and mother, and the constant need many women feel to compartmentalize their experiences when fighting against stereotypical roles placed on women in the art world. Top Drawer also reflects on the daily pressures of keeping things together in a world, space, home, and life that refuses to behave. Through physical exertion, Gilmore works draw from performative work of the 1970s and slapstick comedy that uses dark humor to teach about the limits of the physical body and what we can learn when the body is asked to exist outside daily physical routine. In this work, by the artist Tracy Baron, Darren meets his birth family for the first time. Baron documents the first day her then-boyfriend met his birth mother and sister. This beautiful and intimate portrait of a mother in a tub in the wilderness with her daughter and son for the first time speaks to the intensity and complexity of the maternal bond and gives an alternative view of the traditional notions of motherhood. In just over 1 decade, Tracy Baron produced an expansive visual diary composed of both spontaneously recorded moments and poised depictions. Born in 1975 in Bath, a small rural town in the Finger Lakes region of western New York State, Baron arrived in New York City in 1993 to attend a school of visual arts. There she began the photographic project that would occupy the rest of her life, documenting herself, friends, lovers, family, and meaningful places in pictures that resonated with intense feeling, a strong painterly sensibility, and her consummate skill as a color printer. Mickalene Thomas makes paintings, collages, photographs, videos, and installations that draw on art history and popular culture to create a contemporary vision of female sexuality, beauty, and power. Blurring the distinction between object and subject, concrete and abstract, real and imaginary, Thomas constructs complex portraits, landscapes, and interiors. Through her work, she examines how identity, gender, and sense of self are informed by the ways women and feminine spaces are represented in art and popular culture. The mother and daughter bond and its significance on a woman's sense of self is tantamount to Thomas's work. Her mother, Sandra Bush, a former fashion model, and seen here in Madame Mama Bush, has served as a muse and performer in Thomas's paintings, photographs, and videos since the late 1990s, while Thomas was still studying at the Yale School of Art's prestigious painting program. Mama Bush, as her mother is known now, has filled in a variety of characters for Thomas's work, from a 1970s diva to a nude odalisque. Since 2013, Mickalene has used her own experience as a mother to let go of stringent systems and structures, exploring material, color, shape, and varied unconventional mixed media processes. Marilyn Minter has produced lush paintings, photographs, and videos that vividly manifest our culture's complex and contradictory emotions around the feminine body and beauty. Her works, from the oversized paintings of makeup-laden lips and eyes to soiled designer shoes, bring into sharp focus the power of desire. Minter makes seductive visual statements that demand our attention, while never backing down from her equally crucial role as a provocateur, critic, and humorist. Her work simultaneously defines and critiques our times. While in school in 1969, at the age of 21, Marilyn Minter shot one roll of film of her mother, a drug-addicted, darkly glamorous woman. These photos became the Coral Ridge Towers series, which is now seen as an early meditation of her obsession with the degraded beauty. Minter made those photographs not understanding yet how others viewed her mother or how her mother differed from society's expectations of what a mother should be. Those early photographs documenting her mother's troubled beauty have profoundly influenced the artist's work during the past 50 years of art making. Yoko Ono is a preeminent conceptual artist, musician, and feminist activist. My Mommy is Beautiful, which began in 2004, is a participatory piece in which the University Art Museum visitors are invited by Ono to tape their memories, messages, and images of their mothers onto the provided canvas. This piece encourages the regional community of Las Cruces to think about the local role we can take to support our mothers within our greater community, while also promoting a universal goal of recognition and advocating for mothers' rights within our global society. What may begin as a personal understanding of our own mothers' roles within our lives might evolve into a greater understanding of the important role mothers in the region have in shaping and forming this community. You may add to this piece online by visiting mymommyisbeautiful.com or by adding the tag #mymommyisbeautiful to your post on Instagram and Twitter. Be sure to tag the @NMSU Art Museum as well. Apostolic Feminist number 2 is one of 4 in a series of collaborative self-portraits created by the mother and daughter dynamic duo Wendy Red Star and Beatrice Red Star Fletcher. Throughout this series, they explore the importance of intergenerational collaboration to their collective practice, and with mutual artistic admiration, they tell the untold stories of the Apostolic Crow womanhood and the matrilineal line connecting the two to their ancestors. Mother and daughter are seen here in a vivid yet slightly abstracted Photoshop portrait, wearing traditional elk-tooth dress and staring self-possessed into the camera. Most historical photographs of Crow women are colorless and photographed by white men, according to Beatrice and Wendy, but this piece offers the opportunity to counter that image by showing the true vibrant color and style of Crow women. Exploring the histories and the stories that Wendy was not taught in school, this mother and daughter collaboration provides a fresh, witty, feminist, and much-needed voice to the current Indigenous perspective. Beatrice is the future, and she's going to have to own this history and pass it on once I'm gone, says Wendy. In Remedy and Stampede, we view 2 works of gouache on paper which speak to a disorienting time for the artist Amy Cutler as she navigates through her new identity as a mother, with humor, fear, pain, tenderness, narrative, and symbolism. In Remedy, Cutler paints metaphorically about the difficult realities of childbirth after an emergency C-section with her first child and her unsuccessful struggle to breastfeed. Through allegory, she explores her feelings regarding the inability to lactate and about her body no longer being her own, just a vessel whose sole function it is to care for another human being. Cutler explores the feelings of being simultaneously encouraged and judged by other women. She states that random people were quick to offer advice and warn me about the demise of my son's well-being. According to Cutler, Stampede explores the deterioration of her marriage after my son was born. The feelings of loneliness and desire were very strong. The new reality of my situation made me reflect on a woman's strength and the need to survive, said Cutler. As in many of Cutler's works, there are symbolic references in these 2 pieces to various cultures, such as symbols including Tibetan hats, Malaysian architecture, and Nordic textile patterns. In Remedy, we see the image of a woman with arrows piercing their breasts, reference to Greek mythology where female warriors were said to either have no breasts or remove one breast to have better control over their weapons. In Stampede, the portraits on the wall represent Puritan ideals. The image of the woman in the rowboat shows a pensive moment before changing directions, and the wallpaper patterns pulse with the flutter of moths that allude to chaos. For Cutler, the woman lying in bed embodies the feelings of frustration, manifesting a group of charging horses. Her legs are not present because she is not quite ready to take control and walk away. Las Hermanas and Glaciius is the project-based collaboration between sisters Lisa and Janelle Iglesias. The artists engage in a variety of collective structures, including the process of working with their mother, Bodhild Iglesias, and Lisa's child, Bowery Iglesias. Mother Love, seen here, incorporates textiles inspired by familial, cultural, and matriarchal inheritance. A rag rug woven by Bohild's mother in the early 1980s, interpretations of weavings by Annie Albers and Sheila Hicks, and translations of paintings and knits between Bohild and her daughters. These textiles are metaphors for Bohild's role of translator within the artist's bicultural family, as she's the only member fluent in Norwegian, Spanish, and English. Motivated by the commonalities and dissonance that occur between objects and phenomena, this installation communicates an imperfect call and response between family members, a back and forth visual conversation. Central to the installation is a large wooden architectural frame draped with textiles that can be viewed from various positions, providing a multiplicity of visual perspectives and highlighting the process through which these works are made. The labors of motherhood and roles of children are regularly cast as distractions and impediments to art making and professional careers. But Mother Love foregrounds the intergenerational collaboration within the family, echoed by an audio tour of the installation contributed by the youngest member. Rather than privileging the notion of this solitary genius, and usually male artist, Las Hermanas and Glaciius amplifies the way in which multiple family members interpret, influence, distract, and finish each other's aesthetics statements.
Welcome to Labor, Motherhood, and in Art in 2020. It has one that looks like a phone with all apps green and city building, and one and there's a lot of rugs, and that's what I'm going to say about it. I'm not going to spoil it. This is Bowie from the past. Okay, everybody, that painting over there, I still don't know how I got here. I'm a different person than Bowie from the future. I'm just another version of him. And I probably got here in a time machine. So that painting over there is pink. I don't even know what it looks like. It has no face. It has stripes and messy stuff. It when your big TV goes shh, it kind of looks like that. Okay, everybody, see you back from Bowie from the past. This painting has a diamond and wavy stripes. It also has wavy sides on each side and patterns. What does it make you think about? And just find it, and I will see you next time. There's a lot of videos. Video on. Now, walk around the galaxy, seeing your favorite adventures. Then, you might take a look at the paintings. We have lots of paintings in the galaxy. You know that, right? But you can actually just wish for your favorite painting, and then it will just come. All right? You will have a lot of fun in video artifacts. All right. Video over. The color of the squares is called monster green. I know you've never heard of that color. They're actually laser beam. It's called a laser beam color. There's also red laser beams and blue laser beams and any kind of laser beams that you
can imagine. Tierney Gearon is an Atlanta-born, Los Angeles-based contemporary photographer who creates powerful and haunting photographic images, often placing her family at the center of her practice. Following a career as a model, dancer, commercial photographer, she turned her camera on the complicated relationship with her mentally ill mother. In Untitled, a work from the series The Mother Project, we are giving an intimate look into the Tierney's relationship with her mom, not only capturing the raw intensity of this complicated mother-child relationship, but also celebrating her mother's beautiful and free spirit. The Mother Project raises larger issues of aging, mental illness, and the complicated dynamics of integrating your family into your practice. In frame 20 from the series Exposure, Gearon continues her personal investigation of home and family. In the self-portrait with her children, Gearon uses the photographic technique of in-camera double exposure to create chance narratives that are surreal and engaging, yet fleeting and ephemeral. Gearon constructs complex visual statements about her life as a mother and an artist. Since February 2019, Patty Chang has been working on Milk Debt, a multi-part video and performance project of women pumping breast while reciting a list of crowdsourced fears in various communities worldwide. Chang views lactation as an act of empathy, enabling a woman to be more connected, more open and accepting, and less likely to think of oneself. In this iteration of Milk Debt, the mass protest marches in Hong Kong serve as a backdrop for a local school teacher to pump her breast milk as she reads aloud a list of fears sourced from local students in their communities. Channeling the individual fears of those ensembled into a public speech transforms them into a message of collective comfort, support, and love. Chang says, in a time when people are impacted by climate change, governmental policies, and lack of resources, it is vital to find ways to connect with others, be inclusive and compassionate, and find ways of making meaning in our world. The title Milk Debt is derived from the concept of the debt in Chinese Buddhism that is ascribed to a child for the impossibility of repaying their mother from raising and feeding them with her breast milk. Breast milk is created when the body starts to produce the hormones prolactin and oxytocin. Oxytocin is also produced when one is in love. Milk debt is an arrangement that binds one's history to the earth. It is an unpayable debt, and it harkens back to some of Chang's earliest performance videos and research projects from the 1990s, in which, through self-portraiture and the use of her parents as subjects, she dissected socially constructed ideas of femininity, boundaries between fear and desire, and the conflict, sacrifice, and love inherent in all parent and child relationships. Justine Kurland is known for her utopian photographs of American landscapes and physically charged images that evoke pre-industrial, post-apocalyptic worlds. Since 2004, Kurland and her son Casper have traveled in their customized van, going south in the winter and north in the summer, always balancing the demands of a parent with her work as an artist. Casper appears at different ages in the photographs against open vistas and among the subcultures of train hoppers and drifters all around them. Kurland's vision is in equal parts raw and romantic, idyllic and dystopian. Teetering between the real and the imagined, her photographs often present alternative realities, rich with allegory and symbolism. Her pictures recall 19th century European romantic painting, children's fairy tales, and photographs of Julie and Margaret Cameron. Both Wild Palms and Explosion, seen here, are part of the series of A Woman Born, in which Justine and Casper drove from New York City, making their way across the southern U.S. towards the Pacific Northwest. They stopped at nearly 45 locations, including national parks, beaches, and campgrounds, to take photographs of the other mothers and children they met along the way. For Labor, Motherhood, and Art in 2020, sculptor Jessica Jackson Hutchins breathed new life into three of her well-known mixed media internationally exhibited works Sap, Devil's Eggs and Red Wine, and Lascaux Reprise. On the opening night of labor, these 3 sculptures became part of a performance. 3 dancers from the NMSU Kinesthesiology Department acted as stand-ins for mother and child, wearing dancing and experimenting with Hutchins' abstract clay sculptures during this improvisational performance. The dancers used the wearable sculptures as vessels, pouring water from one, eating eggs out of the other, playing and lounging as family would in a domestic scene. Hutchins' work and collaborative performance scoffs at ritual and the conventional notions of motherhood by revealing the joy, humor, and excitement children can bring. By repurposing these specific sculptural pieces from her studio with a dance performance, Hutchins finds new ways to further explore the synergy of motherhood, domesticity, life, and art. Laurel Nakadate, co-curator of the exhibition Labor, Motherhood, and Art in 2020, is a photographer, filmmaker, video and performance artist who for the past 20 years has made work that investigates her relationship with strangers. The Kingdom, number 2, is a work from 2018 in a photo series that unites photographs of her late mother with snapshots of her newborn son, constructed by strangers Nakadate located through ads they posted online, advertising photo services to fix any image. The series included 34 images spanning the life of her late mother and the first year of her son's life. Nakadate's only direction was to put the baby in the woman's arms. The work speaks to how technology fails to correct history and meditates on not only a woman's life in photos, but also the connections between generations. Before Joey Fauerso was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2014, she kept her family and her art practice separate, using her studio as a sanctuary, free from the stresses of young motherhood. But out of the necessity, while in recovery, Joey realized that this strategy of separation could not work, so she created a new structure for her process and began incorporating her children into her practice. She recorded conversations between her sons, photographed pillow forts, and drew figurative images that related to both her own life and her anxieties formed by our polarized political climate. "You destroy every special thing I make," the tearful declaration by one son after the other knocked down his creation, became the inspiration and the title for this work, presenting these familial collaborative projects as an on-site installation where Fauerso had reconfigured wooden blocks, cutouts, gestural paintings, and sculptural objects from her studio, pairing them with the adjacent 4-channel video, which documents hundreds of previous setups and destructions of these constructions by her sons and other performers. In this work, Fauerso explores the eternal cycle of creation and destruction, the inspiration provided by her family, and the coexistence of humor and brutality in the current succession of collapses and reconstructions within our society.